Alright, hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast in a game between TSL's Polt versus Mouse Sports, Mouse Sports' Mana here on Shattered Temple. Now, first of all, I thought this was part of the MLG pack, but this is part of the replay or patch notes 142. So I'm not 100% sure where this game actually came from. It was perhaps mislabeled, and it's not even on any MLG versions of the map. So I do not know where this particular replay comes from. But both Mana and Polt, two very high level players, and we'll see what's going to go down in this Terran versus Protoss. Polt spawning here as the blue Terran player at the 6 o'clock position. Meanwhile, Mana spawning here as the green Protoss player. I know it says Tosh up in the top left-hand side. I believe Tosh, or the Mouse Tosh account, is actually shared occasionally, as not all the players have... excuse me, have a European and a North American and a Korean account. So we'll see what strategies come down based upon this close by air spawns. Now, so far, no strategies have been revealed. Polt is apparently going to be setting up that front door barracks. No, he's going to be setting up a barracks a little bit further away, and this will make him a little bit more vulnerable to an early Zealot Stalker push, especially on this front door. It's going to take an additional 2 buildings to finish this wall off here. And if Mana decides to place down early pressure, which a lot of Protoss players can afford to do, training up 1 Zealot, 1 Stalker, and then expanding right behind it, he could really make Polt pay for not having this front door here. Now, Polt, he is going to be going into a refinery right behind this, so he could try to go either for Reapers or Marauders. And Marauders very, very powerful against early gateway units in small numbers, as you can either kite a Zealot, or you can try to go head-to-head up against a Stalker, and the Stalker just loses to the Marauder in a head-to-head matchup. Marine will be trained up in just a moment now, as the probe gets in some early damage, and still no setup of a supply depot. So Polt currently saving up resources. Normally a supply depot does go down. No, it is going to be a second barracks. So Polt going for a second barracks a little bit out of the way, as the probe is looking and hugging that corner, and now a reactor coming into play. The probe is going to spot this, but I don't believe the probe actually spots the additional barracks. No, it does not. And this is all a rather risky build, as Polt right now just going to start his second supply depot. Taking a look at what Mana is doing, Mana opted to not go for the early Zealot, instead getting that Cybernetics core, and now gonna get that Stalker out. You can see a second assimilator has been placed down, so Mana going very, very heavy into gas. And with this, Mana could attempt to go for a 1 base expand, getting up a lot of sentries. That would be a natural course of action, since he is getting this much gas. We'll see what other units will be trained from that gateway there. A third supply depot now being added, and this is going to turn into that reactor barracks opening, where double Marines and perhaps Marines with stim can be placed down for early pressure. Now, Polt should not be expanding anytime soon, as we now see sentries being placed into play, or getting warped in or by that gateway. Now, sentry is very powerful against Marines, able to split them and also reduce the amount of damage that they deal. Stalker now testing the front door. However, there are too many Marines on the front door there. That Stalker will have to retreat and return home, but taking only superficial damage, as those shields will naturally regenerate rather quickly. SCV looks like it will be able to sneak by and get inside this space. This was an actual huge move by Polt here, as Polt was able to spot that expansion. Yeah, so he does spot the expansion, and now it looks as though 2 additional gateways are coming in. He has no idea, Mana has no idea the amount of Marines and Marauders that are currently being trained. Concussive shells have been researched, but no stim. So this is going to be a really strong timing attack coming in from Polt in order to deal a lot of damage, catching perhaps a Protoss player out of position. He may get at least get a cancel on this Nexus, as now we see this probe is trying to run away. It looks like it will be able to do exactly that, as now these gateways will be finished just in time. The Cybernetics core now finishing that warp gate tech. Mana needs to train up these warp gates, get an additional sentry and Stalker, and be able to hold off this attack. Things are not looking good. Will Mana be able to hold this off? Polt does have a 7 harvest or 7 food advantage right now as an immortal, a robotics facility coming in. You can see the robotics facility now being warped in. It's not going to be able to train in any additional units. Zealots now warping in as a command center being built right behind this. So Polt not going to give up on his macro just quite yet. The sentries and the units are now coming down the ramp, and there you go. There's the Guardian Shield, reducing much of the damage, and the Marines doing a great job. In comes the force field. 1 Zealot down, 2 Zealots down. The probe does get taken down as Marines are now coming in from the far side as well. That Guardian Shield really doing its job, but now not enough energy for anything else. So now the Marines and the Marauders are trying to battle it out, but the sentries are a little bit too slow. Need to back off here. The Zealot trying to chase off more units, and Mana in trouble as the Marines able to walk around so quickly. Another Zealot looks like it will get taken down. And taking a look at the losses, Mana has lost a lot more units. A new round of units now warping in. Sentries much more on the defensive end, but the Marines and the Marauders going to be able to destroy many of those. It looks like the Zealot deciding to back off once more. Immortals are being trained. There's going to be 1 Immortal on the ramp. Will it be enough? Three warp gates plus 1 robotics facility, as now Polt taking the economic advantage as this second command center now upgrading to an orbital command, now getting stim as well. And Polt knows that the opportunity for that attack has closed. He doesn't want to stick around. Sieging an enemy for far too long normally leads to a massing of your opponent and him able to break that siege and deal a lot more damage. So Polt now returning home. It looks as though he does have stim, no combat shield yet, but he will be able to start double training medevacs right as that factory and that starport completes. More Marines going to be added here. SCVs being trained. Polt needs to lift off this orbital, try to establish it, and continue this aggression that has paid off for him in full. Double training medevacs now, or it should be double trained in just a second. There you go. And lifting off of the orbital command. More Marines are being added still, but still no research, no combat shield, now just getting started. So Polt should perhaps attack attack now as the starport will be training or done moving out with these units. And now we see Polt upgrading to an engineering bay. Factory holding off in the center here. 1 probe decides to retreat. Marines and Marauders are ready to move once more. More Marines still being added here. SCVs now being transferred over. Tosh or Mana down by 20 food or 18 food at this stage. But there are 3 Immortals in this group. That means that stim will play a very, very important role as we now see the Zealots and what is going to be happening here. The Marines and the Marauders looking at all of these Immortals and going to be able to catch these units out of position. Tosh or Mana not realizing how much of a bad position he is in, as the Marines are going to be able to simply walk inside the base, and now all of the SCVs of Polt are just going to simply retreat back in. And what's going to happen here? The Immortals and the Zealots now backing off as the Marines and the Marauders taking down the pylons, going to take down and unpower all of these warp gates. Will the Marines on the high ground, though, be able to finish this off here? The orbital command perhaps will lift off. The Marines are going to try to engage. The Immortals going to be able to break their way through very, very easily, and it turns into a base race. Supply blocked now. Polt is at 87 over 78. More gateways are being destroyed. Who will be able to destroy the other player first? SCVs now coming in. The Marines are engaging, and the SCVs tanking a lot of that damage as the medevacs are healing as well. The Marauders down over here coming out to engage, but Polt unable to train in any more units. Beautiful force fields, reducing the amount of damage as the Zealots are trying to run away again. Polt still having a very large economic advantage, or food advantage, 32 to 62. More supply depots could go down. The Immortals focusing on SCVs instead of the Marauders, which they should be targeting. And I believe Mana gets the good game. Mana gives the good game as Polt takes game 1 in this series. So very well played by Polt in this matchup, able to put a lot of pressure, take down all of these gateways off over here, and he saw the units coming in through this narrow slip, and because he controlled the Zelnaga tower, he knew that he could just simply walk into his opponent's base. He knew that more Marines and Marauders were going to be able to be trained, as the front door with those supply depots would delay them just enough. Polt pulling off the SCVs in time in order to absorb much of the damage as Polt takes game 1. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.